Yes, and we are live. How are we doing, guys? How are we doing? Yes. Interesting day, innit? Interesting day on a numerical vibe. Some people may be watching this and going, means nothing. Numbers are numbers. I happen to believe differently. As I've discussed many times, probably don't need to bore you with the significance of the number 22 in my life. But I do believe when you look into it and study numerology, research it a little bit more, there's an internal understanding that I felt. Yes, we got people in. How are we doing? We're all right. Good to see you. Good to see you. Not been on for a while. Been busy in the background doing little bits and bobs. Still out and about, but with the lives not really happening so much. But I hope you're doing well. Big up to Katie Jane Swallow. Big up to Sharon Binks. And all the rest of yous out there. Hope you're doing all right with yourselves. So, yes, the date today, 22nd of the 2nd, 22. It's a mad one for me, guys. That is a mad one for me. Knowing my path and journey and the significance of 22 from the very beginning. And then I look at this. Numerology is the pseudo-scientific belief in a divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It is also the study of numerical value of letters in words, names, and ideas. It is often associated with the paranormal, alongside astrology and similar to divine or divinatory arts. So same again, it's an internal thing, isn't it? Who's here? Yes. How we doing? Yes, BB. Yes, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying blessed. You and your family are vibrating on a high level. It sounds really phony, doesn't it? It does. But to me, it doesn't. One thing I've learned with the numerology and looking, internalizing, and just wanting to be a better person is realizing the fundamentals. One shift I had to make that was dramatic, and it was almost a little bit of cognitive dissonance because realizing I had to do it was the battle. But just changing within myself, instead of being a closed person, being open. Don't mean telling everyone me key to me or my PIN code to me bank account or any details, login details or anything like that. It just means being open. And when I started to do that, what I found was, I wouldn't say people change around me, but it possibly attracted like-minded, like emotionally, on different levels, things did start to change. So with this, whether people call it pseudo-scientific, the belief in it in itself, it's almost like a bloody religion, but it's not. Because it's not something I'm not trying to sell it to anyone here. I mean, I've got to say this now. If you don't buy it, if it's not your bag, you don't see it, that's fine. If you're not interested, I guess you'll go and do something else anyway. You know what I mean? For me, all the way through my journey, this has been significant. I have talked about it for quite a while, although the first catalyst was on my birthday, 22nd of May, the event that happened, how many people had died. The number was reoccurring all the time when I go about my business, particularly watching football. As you look at a certain part of a screen first, when you look at the screen, it always, not always, over disproportionately highlighting 22 all the time, to the point the wife's on it. The wife will see it and she's like, you know, she wouldn't have thought of it before. But, and I'm not saying you live your life as a someone who believes in the divinity of numerology. No, you just live your life. But the significance and the actual number and what the number on a spiritual level is supposed to signify, that kicks in. So then it's not a number where you can go to the bookies or go to the casino and go, yeah, that's it. You know, it might work, but I don't believe it's there for that. Although, man, the riches and the prosperity anyone will feel by living their life believing that or seeing a particular number that then reverts back to them on a personal level. It's like you become a different person, but a calmer person. Probably find it easier to be intuitive. Is that the right word? Seeing things on an emotional level a bit more because of the true understanding of you as a being and internalizing, where then you see other people as exactly the same thing. And then when you've got two people who actually think like that, boom, connections. And I've had multiple connections here, and I still have with people, whether they believe in numerology, but they believe in with spirits. So there's something kind of driving that in a sense. And I think numerology, going back to mathematics and how everything is built and formulated, is off a number, binary code, you know? So I believe the power of numbers is a real thing. Um, I don't pray to any altar on it. That would be weird. But I try and be the best person I can be. And when I look into this, so yes, sorry, waffling on. Yes, Mike, I was diddling. I can barely see. Yes, Phil, expecting Shazza. Right. Well, sorry to disappoint, Mike. Sorry, mate. Shazza, if she's about, she is more than welcome to jump in by any means. Yes. Who's this? Oh, yes. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Is that Ali? Yes. How we doing? How we doing? So let me just have a little slurper. Right. I'm hoping someone might drop in a little while, but we'll have to wait and see. I have a tendency to say things and then they don't materialize because the situation changes in the background, and I've noticed it, and it's quite annoying. Quite annoying. Right, what I'm showing you, is it this? Oh, well, I've just sent it. Oh, now I have. Oh, here we go. Right, here we go. Looks like, right, I'll probably get back to that um, in a little while. In a little while. Oh, What's that sound? What's that sound? Right, we work out my bearings here, where I am. Here we are, back in the room, and here we go.
Give me 1 second, just get my headphones.
You know. I'll just sit and wait. I'm all right. Drink me lukewarm coffee anyway. So this is Brick Girl. Brick Girl. The lady that we've just not been able to connect for so long. How you doing, Rachel?
Give me a sec, you fucker.
Oh, jeez. Give it a sec.
I'm not live yet, am I?
Coming through loud and clear. How are you? Oh, hey up. What happened there? Oh, I tell you, what's going on here? You know, yeah. We're back. Are we back?
It's fine, just get out.
Yeah.
Bloody dog. Jesus Christ. Hello.
What happened there?
The dog was in the room, I had to let him out. My hubby's just had one of his mates rock up with a load of kids, and I told him I was going on the live stream, so I've been sat in this room for about 10 minutes waiting.
Oh, I do apologise. How are you anyway? Good to see you.
I'm all right. I'm all right. You?
Yes.
Are we live, yo? Are we on?
We're
Are we actually live?
We're live.
Oh my God, you're taking risks.
What the hell? What more can they do? You know?
I know.
We're on multiple platforms here, so we're not just on the, you know, the one where we know for sure there will be a assigned moderator watching every goddamn word that we say.
Please. 30-second delay. You need a 30-second delay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that might not be long enough for me because my rants do tend to go.
Listen, you rant away. You rant away because it's got us to here, hasn't it? The ups and downs and living life and realising where you're at and whatnot.
I know. How long has it been now, Phil? It feels like fucking decades. But how long has it actually been? Oh, we met about, what, 6 years ago? How old was it? Been a good while. 5-6 years.
2018.
4 years then. Was that it? Was it 2017? It was 2000.
Yeah, it was at DFLA, wasn't it?
That was it in Birmingham.
That
was it. Yeah, yes. A long time ago. That was at the height of Brick Girl. That was.
You know.
I know.
How do you feel not having any of that now?
How do I feel not having any of it? A lot less stressed. I have to say. It was nice, but I mean, it took up all of my life. You know what I mean? I had no relationship with my husband. I was spending all my time replying to comments and emails and messages, and people wanted and it was amazing. Everyone was engaged with me and how quickly it rose, but I was not prepared for the amount of time that it was going to suck from my life doing all of that. And I never set out to do any of that. I mean, I just wanted to expose a little declaration that the EU made. And it kind of grew. And I don't know, people, I think they just liked my get on and rant style, really, which was I think it was quite. Brick Girls made it.
You know what I mean? And it's always the way that even though you're not on, you're still revered and you're still a you. So in a sense, nothing has changed whatsoever. The only thing that changes is probably your availability to go on and cover certain things and be as active as you was in the past. But I've juggled with the vortex. I was just saying then what got me involved, it was basically my birthday, the event that happened on my birthday, and the correlation with 22, and it was like, Jesus, this is some kind of signal. And before you know it, I end up with 22,500 subscribers. So it's like crazy stuff. For me, numerology played and is actively still here. But the ups and downs, the woes, the learning it, and the overconsumption for me, as much as I come out the traps like anyone would when a video blows up like that, all of a sudden, yeah, I'll do this, do that, would activate. And what happened for me is I then started to see less and less of me. And I was less and less active in my real life as well. I kind of put just everything stayed dormant. Yeah. Now what I've realized is because I'm not as prolific on this platform, and I don't ultimately see as being active online as the most I can get out of my energy now. I think realizing that has been able to redirect what I can do, which has given me more enjoyment, it's bringing me more back of my life. I'm getting more active in several other things, but I'm still having the connections. I'm still doing things in the background.
Yeah.
So it's like everything's still there, even though I'll go on a march and go, where's your channel gone? And it almost makes you feel you're gone. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Well, that actually leads quite nicely into what we were going to talk about, doesn't it?
Indeed. So
the Vax control group.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What got you involved with that?
Well, I feel quite passionate. Obviously, anyone who knows me knows I'm obviously double jabbed with the booster. Yeah, sticking it in me since day one. No, obviously I'm very, very, very much anti the vax, and this was started by some of my people from my home ed network, and it's gone global. It's quite phenomenal how it's taken off. There's 300,000 global participants, and it's a study for those who are unvaccinated, who intend to stay vaccinated and have no intention of ever getting vaccinated. And it's a global study to monitor those who are unvaccinated, not monitor, sorry, that's the wrong word, to create a database of people who haven't had the vaccine, and they're to track sort of how they develop, like, because everyone's keeping tracks of theirs and everything else and the yellow card, but nobody's keeping track of the people who are healthy, and we want to keep track and see if people are dying from this virus that's so horrific, especially the unvaccinated. So it's basically your participation in a global study stating that you won't get vaccinated, you have no intention, and that you believe your immunity is enough to get you through this pandemic. Sorry, I have to use the air quotes because it's just a pile of shit. But you know what I mean? It's a phenomenal idea, and it's basically us sticking our two fingers up at the British government. It's our own version of the COVID pass, as it were. And
what's the requirements? What do people have to do to join?
They just have to be unvaccinated. That's it. That's the sole requirement. And it's from birth to the grave. It's for any age group. You can enroll your children in it. And as you'll see flashing on your screen there, you get one of these cards, and you have your own QR code. It doesn't scan on the COVID passes because we are trying to get recognised as an official study. But as I'm sure you can imagine, we are quite fought against because we're basically not part of the government. Nobody's in control of the study. There's no pharmaceutical companies, there's nothing. It's just people who are concerned, citizens who are trying to make an actual stand against this, and we're getting some massive traction. The World Council for Health, we are an affiliate of those. There's several others that we are an affiliate of. I can't remember them off the top of my head at the moment. But we are getting recognised all around the world. We're currently in, I think, over 100 countries, mostly Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. As you can imagine, there's been quite a demand for that. But out of this tiny little group has now formed a global study with 300,000 participants, which I'm sure you can imagine is no small feat with the barriers that we've fought against. We've had PayPal shut down, websites shut down. They are gunning hard for us. But the card works. It's working in many, many countries. It's keeping people's jobs. It's keeping people's access to their children, funnily enough. It's getting people flying around the world. So I feel very passionately about it. And I feel like I'm actually doing something that's helping people rather than the collective. We're helping individuals, really, which is something I feel quite passionate about. So, as you know,
it's actual change, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than actual change. Ranting and raving on a YouTube on a video is great. Probably having connections in the background is the most real life, and if you can affect their life in a positive way, where they make decisions that then go on. We all need help, advice, and support. So with this is absolute direct help that is helping people globally who have been put in and forced into situations with all kinds of ridiculous mandates put on them. Have you heard any stories at all from any people who are members?
Oh, we have Telegram chat groups for our members. So we have various groups. We have a success stories group, and we have just a general chat for each country. We've got volunteers all around the globe, and we have both success stories and heartbreaking stories about people who lost access to their children. They've been because they're not getting vaccinated. People who've had to relent and get the vaccine. It's just heartbreaking stories. People who've lost their loved ones, having been forced to take this vaccine to keep their jobs and stuff. And it's both that sadness and we get, like I say, we get amazing success stories of people flying all over the world with them, places that you're not allowed access to with double jab. Not to say that it's a guarantee of by any stretch of the imagination, but they are getting very well recognised. So well recognised that the Canadian government has actually put a warning out against them. You're doing something right when the Canadian government's trying to get you.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, the countries, the way it started. I mean, that this is going to be incremental, and country will follow country, and this, that, and the other. And we've seen that in terms of decisions on holidays and how you can holiday and if you can, and jobs and all the rest of it. We've seen a lot of that being relinquished now. Yet we're still seeing some countries being so hardcore, which is very strange. I work with Donks and Jewel, 2 Australians. I'm in a chat, and they're constantly feeding me information on what's happening in Canada. They see as, they're pretty much brothers because of on a level like that, tyranny level, it's off the chart. This guy, this liberal Trudeau,
he
started with such a rainbow, diverse kind of mentality, and look where he's gone. He's actually trying to evoke powers now that he's more about terrorism than anything else.
Managed. Did you hear? The government have actually backed him. The Canadian government have voted in favour of his emergency bill this afternoon. But it has to go through the Senate. Right. But as of right now, the Canadian government stands with Justin Trudeau. But it doesn't matter. Canada's already lost. They've already lost. The Canadian government has already lost. All those truckers have got to do is switch off their engines and say, well, who is it that brings you your food? Who is it that brings you your supplies and your water?
I mean, that's why this guy's done this. He's made a power
terrified.
Move.
He's terrified.
Day after day, you've got hundreds of thousands of people on the move, put, highways to standstill, and actually, like you said, shown who the power. They're actually forward thinking here, Rachel. These guys are doing barbecues, they're feeding all the people at the marches, they've got big drums, and I'm thinking, these guys that have evolved when it comes to actually marching or protesting, because
the problem is we haven't had any of that here. Necessity is the mother of invention, and out of necessity has now been born Canada's trucker rally. We haven't got that necessity here, therefore we sit on our arse in apathy. It's just ridiculous.
Well, going back to where we started then, isn't it weird looking at it from where we've been with this journey? And not that I take any of this seriously. You were the one who probably made me see a couple of years ago, probably a little bit longer.
Couple of years ago.
It's crazy, isn't it? And we look at what's happened since. But now looking at it from what other countries are going through, as opposed to the farce that has been exposed here on so many different levels, I'm probably not yet fully exposed because we've not had a sufficient amount of time yet. And all the politicizing and never let a good crisis go to waste. Man, they've done a job psychologically, which is still paying its toll now, isn't it, Rachel?
Oh, it'll play its toll for generations, will this pandemic, through the... Oh, we haven't yet to see anywhere near the backlog in the medical, the health system. Those people who have still waiting for diagnosis for cancer, diagnosis for treatment, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, all of that's gone by the wayside. All the minor operations have all been done. The social and economic effects, thank you, I was total brain fart then, couldn't think of the word, won't be known for probably a good 5 or 6 years. I mean, from suicides to the mental health that's deteriorated, people's jobs that have been lost. I mean, families have been ripped apart. I mean, I haven't spoken to my own mum in 2 years from it. The implications of the absolute crap that people have been fed for the last 2 years won't be known for many years to come. The full effects of it won't be known. And that's the saddest part, is we've still got all that to come.
Witnessing over this time, Rachel, a population of people being purposely demonized, that is pretty off the chart. I've never seen anything like that. And we slowly kind of knew it was going to happen. We watched certain articles that would suggest. We had theories that then became reality. But to truly see weaponized articles and politicians flat bluntly telling that you shouldn't be talking to your family member if you're not vaccinated. You shouldn't be going anywhere near them if they're not vaccinated. That is off the chart.
It's insane, isn't it?
Telling a story is one thing. Have they ever considered the effects that would have on a human being that truly believes in their government? I mean, in many ways, it exposed and it kicked off what is the freedom movement, because it's so illuminating to watch a tyranny-based government kick in worldwide and tell you what to do, to the point where Trudeau's doing what he's doing now.
Yeah, I know. And it's most frustrating is that I saw straight through it from day one. So this has been 2 years of trying to, like, I'm past it. I went past, like, I'm kind of over it. I got over it about a year ago. I'm sort of done. I filter it out in my day-to-day life. And having sat back for 2 years, watching people wake up and see it now, and I'm like, why couldn't you just believe me 2 pissing years ago? It's like, why have we had to waste 2 years? Well, for nothing, for you to have your eyes awakened to what you were being told. You were being told, and you could see it. I mean, most of these people that I see or I speak to who've recently awakened, it's like they even said that they could see it back at the start. They just didn't want to see it, So it's people have been complicit in their ignorance, and I think people again will have a type of mourning and grief when they realise, who are yet to realise, what they've done to their loved ones, their friends, their families, the ostracising, the heckling, the abusing them for what? Because the government told you. And I don't think those repercussions will be felt for a little while. And I don't think people actually realise where this is going. So everyone says, "Oh, it's going away. It's going away." This shit is not going away. They have not been fighting. People don't understand. 4 billion doses of the vaccine have been given out. You know, if they were to produce one vaccine like per second, it would take 300 years to produce that many vaccines. Yet they've managed to produce them in barely any time at all. And it's like, they didn't just make them. These have been around for ages, waiting and waiting. They're not just going to let go of this. This isn't going to vanish. Bill Gates has already put a tweet out saying, yes, the COVID pandemic might be over, but there will be another pandemic soon. I mean, it's just, I can't.
It's a circus, a generated circus. And this is probably one of the most bodacious, when you're kind of waking up and you understand the false flags and the possible crisis actors and the narrative-driven world that we live in. That's one thing. 2 points. Firstly, isn't this crazy because we live in such a world that beats us down because they profess to be uber diversity based, and we're not apparently, but yet get treated, even whether you decide to take it or not, just the sheer mentality of now, same again, going back, being exposed now to how much you would shut somebody off because they choose not to think like you. That is powerful and strong. Secondly, Leslie's point here, this is going back to what you were saying before, how it can never be the same again, because
I don't want it to be the same. I never want it to be the way it was with transgender and all. I don't want it the same. I want the world to start again. I want a new world, not a new world order.
I mean, look at this. No one can even see a doctor anymore. It's scary that people suffering so much. Not only whether you decided to have done this or not, actual appointments now done. You know what I mean? There's so many ways where they'll encourage you to go online to do it, to get an app to do it now. That the old is gone. That can never be brought back. That will have consequences on so many different levels. You know what I mean? And this is what we're saying about people who are naive to believe that everything.
Get a vaccine, it will go back to normal.
It's the most ridiculous way of thinking
I know
that I've ever seen. In a way, I'm like you. In a way, again, I probably done it a little bit later than you did. But I decided to home in on myself, work out what I want to do, and started to live a little bit more. By doing that, that has ultimately had a massive beneficial effect to me as a human being. One, in my personal life, and two, in my online now. Connections I have. I don't even look at this the same way. And it's crazy. I don't. You know, so there's so many fundamental changes that have happened because of this trauma and spike. But it's like,
you're living outside the matrix, Phil. That's it.
Well, it is, isn't it? You know, one thing I'll mention before I let you go, because I know you wanted to get off. And thanks for joining, Rachel. Honestly,
that's all right.
Buzzing on here to see you.
Oh, are they? Are they chatting? I can't even see the comments.
Yeah, there's a few chats. They've said, Brick Girl, look. See what I mean? Brick Girl is always a good and truthful. Look, you know what I mean? And I did have one commenter, one of my subbers, or I think to the subbers of Children's Map, nickname you Rubber Duck. It just come out in a comment. Is Rubber Duck coming on?
His name is Jorge. Rubber Ducky. I just call him Rubber Ducky. I sing that song from Sesame Street. You know the one. So I do. It's fun. I've got a little rubber teddy as well. Yeah, this little. He's got little bear ears rather than duck. Yeah, it's one of them. So. Don't worry, I'm a special one, me.
Well, I think you've got to be in this crazy and zany world. You've got to still develop your personality from the inside and out, and still thrust it and frigging look up instead of
Yeah,
looking down in life. You know.
yeah. Put your shoulders back, your head up. You got nothing to have your head down for. That's the way I see it. And
Exactly.
I mean, to this day, I've never put a mask on my face. I've never put a single mask on my face for the pandemic. I mean, I've done sanding and stuff before, you know what I mean? But like, I'm talking about this pandemic. I've never worn a mask, and I've flown 3 times. People need to understand. I've been on holiday 3 times during lockdown. There is nothing about this pandemic that has made me fearful. Not reprisals, not getting public abuse, not being
Right.
told
Listen.
by businesses to put it on.
One brilliant point that could get out of you now, right? If anyone's watching this, what could you tell them as steps as an individual, just you talking to one person now, on how you feel you became a bit more confident and strong to stand up to this? It's not always about articulation. It's about a sense of being, like you said before. Lift your shoulders back, all that kind of stuff, body language. But could you vocalize in any way? Anyone watching this now would just say to you, well, it's all right you saying that, bit girl. You can do this, you can do that. They might feel deficient. They might feel, well, what kind of mental tools do I need in order to get to that place?
Um, I
Sorry,
don't know
John.
if I could. Nice big one too right in there. I don't know if I could change people's mental state, but I suppose it's so cliche. But one of the biggest things is the difference between morality and obedience. Is morality is doing what is right despite what you are told, and obedience is doing what is right, doing what you're told in spite of what is right. And I don't, it's, I've known from day one that this has been shit. So I've been able to sort of, it's almost like an out of body experience. I'm living in this world, but I'm not of it.
Right.
Like I take part, I go about my business, but I'm not part of the world. I'm not interested in anything that's going on around me. You just
Yeah.
almost have to become selfish in your daily attitude to yourself. But I mean, as far as we need to connect with other like-minded people and be supporting each other. But the way I've always seen it is somebody might not be feeling very brave. Somebody might not be feeling very confident. If they see me smiling with my head held high and my shoulders back, going about my daily life, it might inspire them to be a little bit more confident, to maybe walk a little bit taller. Maybe they might inspire to walk a little bit taller, someone else. And that's the way I've always felt. Is I've kind of been the way I've always been Brit Girl. I know that other people don't feel confident talking. I know other people don't have the gift of the gab, and I know other people don't feel that confident. So I kind of do it for them. Like, I'll be your mouthpiece. I'll be your confidence. I'll stick up for you if you need me to. But now's the time come where everyone needs to be sticking up now, because I mean it's so far obvious.
Well, it's true. I mean, this actually alludes to the second point. Thank you very much. And then, honestly, you can get going. Sorry for
It's all right. Little one's still up, so I'm not that fussed yet.
honestly, we could keep going and
I
jumping
know.
all topics. Not even pissed about yet, but I was talking with you today, and it was the main premise was, what steps now does any movement kind of need to evolve to in order to circumnavigate all this? And this will, going back to the Trudeau thing, you could say as well, the fact that he's instilled these powers that can literally shut down bank accounts and just shut people off from their lives. And
What, you mean like we are? Russia?
well, exactly. We're all connected. What I'm trying to say is we're all connected to this hive mind in order to live. I'm not suggesting a Mad Max scenario, but a scenario where you have a community that are literally
No,
self-sufficient.
you've said Mad Max now. Thunderdome all the way.
You like the rough and tumble. Yes.
Two go in, one comes out. Yeah, 100%. I'll go up against Boris.
You know, I actually had a good thought before. Check this out. Instead of Nuremberg trials, instead of actually wasting money injecting him, whatever, incarcerating him, when you've got to feed these suckers and let them have the war.
Incinerating them, not incarcerating, incinerating.
That is a good point. I didn't consider that. Putting them in a bleeding capsule, right, naked, and fire them off. Fire them off. Fuck them.
Maybe that's what Elon's doing with them rockets. He's preparing one to send them off.
I actually thought, wouldn't it be great if Richard Branson actually fucking did go stratospheric?
Yeah, fuck off. Jeff Bezos behind him. Jeff and Richard can both fill up their rockets, but we'll just put enough fuel to get halfway up to space, shall we? And then whee, all the way back down. That'd be cool. I'd pay to watch that. That pay-per-view, that'd be amazing.
There's no paperwork. They're just out of here, aren't they?
Just gone,
Imagine all the red tape with having them about and all the palaver. Fuck them off.
Actually, I think we should help them on their way to where they're supposed to be going, and we should just get cruise liners, and then we should tie big rocks to their ankles and just drop them in the middle of the ocean. That would be, I think, that would be pretty cool.
What next?
In fact, we could come up with 101 ways to kill a pervert, couldn't we? Like, and we could.
Oh no, you're going somewhere though, aren't you?
1,001 ways to die. Amazing.
So this is a chat that would be engaging, because you know what people are like. We've all got that sense of being outraged, and the first thing you've got to control is your bloody temper and, you know, your sense of outrage with this, because the more you learn about how the world is run and what potentially is actually going on, and right under your nose, and the decline of society, and the fact that it's probably done on purpose, and the way people live, everything, you actually want to do some harm, and it hurts because you see people that can't see it. And it's not that you're arrogantly looking above them, but you want to scream from the rooftops.
Oh my God.
Which make you look like a nutter in the beginning as well.
Made me look like a nutter.
I was having breakfast, right, with the wife, and we've all had bad storms over here, haven't we? And we had it not necessarily as bad as down south, but we had pretty bad winds, and you couldn't go out in it if you were clever. And we were talking, and I said, how much of this weather is manipulated, right?
Oh, 100%.
I didn't suggest anything. I just put the point out as in, just on a butterfly effect or consequential effect. Is something happening over there that is consequently there, or is it just organic? She's turned eating the breakfast and go, oh, right, so the weather's manipulated now. And I started to tap it, and it pissed it off, and it kind of like, right. So as I'm eating my breakfast, she knew what I was doing. And so she's like, I don't need to see it while I'm eating my breakfast. And I just showed them, and it just said military weapon, and then he went into it on how...
Just show her the video of Jeremy Clarkson. You know that video of him with the HARP weather machine, the rain cloud generator? He's literally at the HARP weather machine, and it generates a cloud, a condensed cloud that, like, 3 hours later, it's gone over Michigan and produces rain. Wow. And so it's not even like it's like everything else. It drives me nuts. Chemtrails, they don't deny that, but that's a conspiracy theory. HARP, it's all online for you to see, but that's a conspiracy theory. I mean, how many times has something got to be called a conspiracy theory before you start looking into it?
You'd think by now people would actually go, when someone says a conspiracy theory, maybe I need to look into it. I don't need to go down the rabbit hole, because potentially the rabbit hole can ridiculise anything that you look into, and there can be all kinds of theories that in some ways can make some sense as well. But the world is nothing like what we truly believe when you're walking and you're paying taxes and living your life by any means. But we're here where we're at, Rachel. I'm going to let you get going because I know you've got tons. I guess you want to do. You want to catch up with your other half as well. Is there anything you want to say, people? Well, before you get going,
look into the vaccine control group if it's something you might be interested in, and walk tall. That's it. Keep your head high and your shoulders back, and put a smile on your face. You are right. That's it.
If you're doing it for the right reasons, you got right on your side and at the universe. I mean, I know you're not spiritual in any way, but in many ways you work off vibration, this, that, and the other.
How am I not spiritual?
I thought you. I didn't realise you were. I thought you kind of.
I'm a Christian.
No, well, then. So numerology then, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I mean, it just so happens that I wake up at 3:33 most nights. Tell me what that means.
Probably tap it in and see what numbers come up.
Well, 33, the divine number.
Divine number?
You don't know about 33? Jesus Christ, Philip, you don't know much, do you?
No, I know what I need to know, Rachel. Thanks.
Well, you don't know about number 33. And I'm not talking about the 33 Club at Disney before you all start in the comments. Yeah, look at the number 33. It's like the root of all life or some bollocks. I don't know. I just really like the number, and I found out it was my favourite number my whole life. And then I found out a few years ago it meant something. I can't say like my faith is personal, my spirituality. I do believe we are massively in through a great awakening, which is a spiritual awakening, as well as having our eyes open to the truth. But I think mostly it's a spiritual awakening, and I think people will start to see, well, maybe my conspiracy theorist friends, if they were right about COVID, they might be right about Bohemia Grove, or let's see, Davos, or Frazzledrip, or Epstein Island, or any of the things that have been out. Just go and explore. But maybe if people to start to see that, they'll start to see, well, hang on, if these people are worshipping Satan, they have to believe in Satan, and who's the opposite of Satan? So it's like whether you believe in the devil or not, these people do. Like, they're the ones who are making decisions about our life based on the beliefs that they have, and you have to look into that. And they are the darkness, and therefore we must be the light. That's all we can be. Darkness cannot dwell except in when light is shined upon it. So
to me, it's very obvious. If you live a happy life and you engage on a happy level with people, you tend to have a happier life. As opposed to if you're negative and engage with people on a negative level regularly, that will show its colours very quickly. So it's not a hard equation for me.
It's also, people don't realise the power of words either. Words have a phenomenal effect on you. They can either be negative or they can be positive. It's like you only have to speak to any child who's been through trauma, like an abusive parent. They'll say that their words stuck with them a lot harder than the blows ever did. You know what I mean? It's like myself. I mean, my parents used to smack me and stuff, but the things my mum used to say to me, they stuck harder. All you got to do is tell a child that they're this, they're that, they're stupid, put them in a box, tell them they're never going to achieve anything in life, and they'll believe it. They will become what they're told they're worth.
The reason why, we got booted off, the reason why you've joined that, the reason why you're a new you and I'm trying to be a new me, it's like, man, because it works. Getting into people's heads, pumping into them what they want you to believe instead of what you could actually be as an individual. Imagine a society, that's how they've done it.
I know, and they wouldn't try and silence you if your voice wasn't getting through to people. You know what I mean? If your voice didn't mean anything, well, they wouldn't care to silence you, wouldn't they? But they know that people like you and me, we have more of a voice than celebrities, in as much as we can speak to the everyman. We can connect with them on a level that Beyonce can't, or whoever else. I mean, sure, they might tell their little fans and stuff, but most people who, especially those, I think with kids as well, they're searching and seeking, they're looking for the thing that's best for their children. And celebrities isn't it, is it? I mean, it's toxic. I mean, Hollywood, music, I mean, you can watch anything, it's toxic. Put on MTV, it's soft porn. These are the people that you're supposed to be looking up to for your kids. No thanks.
Well,
I'd rather
it's selling your soul out. I mean, I'm not a Christian and I'm not devout, and I use language and everything else, but I think if they say opera, the musical tones is probably the best music you could listen to on a mental level, maybe on a spiritual level as well. Hip hop with the lyrical content, to have young children subjected to that type of language to the point now where female demigration is probably normalized and acceptable within society because of videos, not only by young girls, but by young lads, because they see as being a big badass, that's how you treat women. So on many levels, it's a message and a signal that is so bad for the human psyche, it changes society.
Mm-hmm.
Not
absolutely.
That, I can't DJ opera, so I've got to have some kind of happy medium. But yeah, I mean, lyrical content and stuff, it's just my journey in it, Rachel, and just finding that out,
Well, that's if you can understand anything they sing these days. I mean, have you heard that mumble rap shit they listen to? Can't understand it, and I can't understand a word that Ariana Grande sings. I mean, she's got a lovely voice, but I mean, I don't know a word she's singing. Or Rihanna. Have you heard that Watos? That it's called Wild Thoughts. I thought she was singing Watos. That Rihanna. I was like, what the hell's a Watos? Like, I can't understand most of what these, and I'm glad because I don't want my daughter listening to that. So there you go. But you can't understand. Their diction is horrific.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's simplified now, isn't it? You look at
lazy. The word lazy, Phil.
I think that's the point I'm probably getting at. Thank you for prompting me on that. It's when I listened to rap, where I started, it was intellectual, it was intelligent. Guys who were rapping were actually trying to extend their vocal capabilities every time they rapped, because it was all about being smarter, being more intelligent, putting your point across, but doing it. Well, the gangster element as
yeah.
No, and I love B.I.G. over Tupac, if that was the question you're asking. But morally, I've disenfranchised myself from the likes of Snoop Doggy Dogg. Now, that doesn't mean to say...
I don't like Snoop Dogg.
Well, look at him. He's sold his soul straight out there. He's telling people and getting paid for it to shut up, sit at home and order a bleeding kebab, whether it's good for you or not. And I think a lot of these celebrities, I'm on bleeding rant now. It's a moral decision, isn't it?
He's the music industry whore, by the way. I mean, he will do anything. I mean, easy on anything is Snoop Dogg. It's not even like the man needs the money. I don't know what he's whoring himself out for like that.
If someone's going to pay him, they're going to take it, aren't they?
Doesn't there not come a point in your life where you think, oh, it's all right, I've got enough money now, I think I'll just enjoy my retirement? Or am I like deranged? I don't understand these people who want hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, what the hell are you going to do with it? I mean, seriously. You can't spend that amount of money.
No, well, it's not how... I mean, I have no idea what the guy gives to charity or whatnot, but let's put it this way. The guy that constantly waves gang signs about and is affiliated with, I think it's the Crips.
Yeah, he was told he couldn't wear gang colours at the halftime Super Bowl. Did you hear about that? He wanted to take his Crips bandana on stage with him.
This is what I'm saying. It's just a stupid mentality. If because of his belief in that, then get someone killed because they're going to buy into that message that
I
I'm
know.
going to become a crib or I'm going to big myself up. What should that tell Snoop Doggy Dogg?
I don't know, but I mean, that Travis Scott's got a higher body count than Snoop right now, hasn't he? How many kids died at his concert, that Juice WRLD thing? That satanic, did you see it? That satanic ritual that was given. How many lives were given?
What? Did you hear
Travis.
about the Black Lives Matter? Just seen an article before.
Oh yeah, the 4 people they've had the charges dropped. Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can. I can believe it quite easily in this world. I can. That evil thrives while good men do nothing. I can believe it very, very much.
The irony is so crazy, isn't it? She's still in hospital in serious condition.
Yeah, but unless she awakens to identify her assailant, they'll probably never get punished.
From what I can...
Welcome to 2022.
It's crazy. What I can gather is I think they were all balaclavaed, right? And what it sounds like, the article was saying that they've still got the phones and conversations to conspiracy and, doing something.
But they don't know who pulled the trigger.
No. So on that premise, but, there's probably...
That's why they do it?
Nah.
To get around it?
Isn't it mad though? The bitter irony. Because this is a lady that has called someone like me a coon, which is a derogatory term just because I decide to think outside of the box, just because. Whereas I'm now saying she's had black members of society shoot a point blank in the head, and for whatever reason, they've evaded. So I hope she regains full whatever, but
because we're the better people. She wouldn't wish you the same thing, I imagine. Not that, I mean, I speculate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but would that make you rethink your bloody activism? Or at least, you know what, the white man's not to blame here. Or are you then going to go, well, the white man's actually made him want to shoot someone? Seriously?
No, what they'll see is the white man letting them off. That's how the story will play out. Is white prosecutors let off suspects in BLM activist case. That's how they'll spin it. They won't mention the fact that the assailants are black. They still won't. Just like they won't mention that George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose because it doesn't suit the narrative. So
it's bitterly ironic on so many levels. I mean, look at it this way: 4 balaclavaed white guys, Brit Girl. Would that have happened? I'm sorry to say that, and I'm, but I've got to say it as it is. If you've got gunmen that have conspired on the phone, and surely you could get some form of evidence.
Conspiracy to commit murder. All 4 of them should get it.
Without a doubt. And then you've got someone called a defense lawyer who's got the morality of what?
An alley cat.
You know what I mean? To actually go and seek them to get off with it, knowing that they have probably done it. They probably played a part in it. So, you know what I mean? And it's like,
criminal defense lawyers are. I mean, everyone's entitled to their jurisprudence, but I mean, I think maybe in cases like that, people should have to have a public defender or whatever we call them.
Man, that's just a back shot for her. I mean, imagine of all the people to shoot her. If that had been a white person, that would have just totally sealed.
You wouldn't have heard about it. You wouldn't have heard out.
Well, I mean, to her, it's more logical because the way, on a mental level, she perceives white people to be shot. Don't forget, we live in a systemically racist society where she's trying to instill to people that you're more likely to get killed by a white guy than a black guy, which is bollocks. Particularly when she was in a predominantly black area, but guess who killed her?
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, print that. And I'm sorry you went through that. I hope you fully recover. But shouldn't that make you think about the situation a little bit more?
Mm.
Where's
I
your
would
time?
I would argue that we do live in a systemically racist country, but not for the colour that you would think. I would argue that anything that gives one race advantages over another, like affirmative action, etc., is systematic racism, is it not? Just not
Critical
geared
race,
against the black man.
critical
Yeah,
race theory is a racist policy, isn't it? In reality, because they're
yeah,
discriminating one and they're placing one as the victim and one as the perpetrator all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
400
Affirmative
years later.
action. White men can't even apply for jobs. Does that remind you of any time in history? When,
Well, exactly. The shoe's on the other foot. And this is all it's ever been about. This ain't a pro-white, hate blacks thing. It's just like, look at the common sense here. If the shoe was on the other foot, dude, when I was growing up in the early 70s, to be treated and spoke about in such a way, derogatory way, I know now that any black man can say that to a white person and get away with it, no problem.
oh
The
yeah,
moment a white guy turns and says that to a black guy, which none of them should say any of that shit, it should transcend that emotion. Racism or racist behavior is a false construct. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? So on that level, you just transcend that, but these guys can't. They just can't see that basic argument that you do drop this, we're all together as one. All of a sudden, they can't use that against you as a tool and make
yeah,
you become a victim. I'm no
yeah,
fucking victim. If I'm a victim, it's because I've not strived good enough myself as an individual. Maybe going back to numerology again, because I keep seeing that number. It's like tapping me. Because when I read into it, it's like basically a signal for you to internalize and realize as an individual how good you can be. And that's not just me, it's like any individual, personal development. It's like,
yeah.
man, so then racism's not even a thing. So sorry, Brit Girls, bit of a rant
There's nothing. I mean, when we know there's nothing stopping anyone from, excuse me, from achieving anything that they want in this country. Nothing but your own aptitude and your own effort that you put in. It's that simple. Doesn't matter what area of life you want to go university, you can go university. You want a top executive job, you can have a top executive job. You want to be a stay-at-home mum and go on welfare, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. There is nothing. There's no barrier. There's nothing stopping you except your own victim mentality.
Totally agree. And the reason I can resonate with that, Rachel, is because I've been on both sides of the fence. That's why I've gone through that and I'm going, man, I feel so much better now. I can talk to people. I don't carry that baggage on me when I'm engaging with people. I don't look at people like what you're looking at, like I used to.
Yeah.
Being an angry individual that felt that because of the colour of my skin, that was holding me back. It was the biggest load of crap once I shut that off, because that was only manifesting energy out that was probably backing up that fear.
Yeah.
So because I'm running out feeling a bit angry and frustrated and making sure no one gets on top of me, it's actually bringing shit back that makes me think, well, we do live in a racist society. It's like, well, if you walk out with that anger, what would argue with someone, what would kind of look at someone bad and intimidate them to the point they don't want to look at you, then you're always going to feel that there's an us and them. Man, I feel so much better coming out and doing this. If nothing else, Rachel, the frigging fantastic people I've met all over the world, whether it be on a march or like relationships like this now, where it's just gone on for years and we're still here chatting shit and having a laugh.
I know, it has, isn't it? I feel like we're still talking about the same shit we were talking about 5 years ago at this point.
Well, I think it's always going to be that way, though, isn't it? I think only dynamics will slightly change. The Overton window will get a bit more smaller. But I think what we're truly all about, it goes beyond the talking point, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just having that, like you said before, a sense of morality and a moral compass and a God. and not wanting to be a big celebrity either, not wanting to make money, because this ain't about money, ain't about fame. It's about waking people up or getting people to think in another direction, or maybe getting them to realize, you know what, I can internalize myself and maybe make myself a better person, or maybe that connection with Phil I've just had on an interview there, maybe that's helped him to internalize and make himself a better person. So it's like, fucking win-win.
You know what else makes you a better person and a happier person? Is when you stop seeking others' approval. When you like you say, most of the people still wearing masks are wearing them for other people. They're wearing them because they're downtrodden, because they've been told that they have to. They're not wearing them because they want to. They're wearing them because they've been told to. When you stop seeking that approval and that need of the approval of society and other people, then yeah, it's like you become much happier. I couldn't give a monkey's chuff if somebody wants to have a go at me in a supermarket. I'll pay them as much attention as well, I just won't. But it makes you happier when you stop seeking for others' approval. It just makes you happier when you just live your life for you and not for other people. And yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, literally. Even if you still got to work within these confines, dude. All right, mate. Sorry about that. My mate's just come round. He's like, sat there, really? You know? But yeah, there's something freer to be had once you've gone through the journey of doing this. Still got to pay taxes, still got to do what you do. But
do you still have to pay tax?
Yeah, I do. You know, this is what going back before being totally self-sufficient, and I want to go back to a barter system, me. You know.
But why do you have to pay tax?
Because I work very hard, Rachel.
And you want to hand 23% of that to the government to spunk up the wall, do you?
Well, like it or not, it's a question of what I can get back out of their fucking pocket.
True. So, I like that. I like the cut of your jib, Phil. I did think that wasn't like you. Yeah.
Whoa, you're not having all that. So you know, some of it's going to end up in there. But yeah, it's still living with that element of confidence and strength, knowing that you're right, you're doing things the right way, and not looking at anyone in a negative way for what they're doing, but realizing on a fundamental level that is so wrong the way they're acting, so illogical, irrational stuff. I seen a lady walking with her toddler, with both of them with a mask on. Now, I can't believe a world where we still think that this is so contagious that is absolute reality anyway, even though we've covered the credibility of the mask itself, being that if it's all about controlling airborne shit, then hasn't it got to be sealed a bit better than it currently is? So anyone who thinks within 20 seconds of going, what the hell?
But you're trying to rational with the irrational, aren't you? These people aren't thinking with a rational brain. They're thinking from fear. And fear that's been pumped into them for years.
Exposes them as an individual, never mind this topic. And I'm not saying that in a detrimental or derogatory way to them. I've got to be honest. It shows me how susceptible anyone is if they're going to run round and act like that without you looking at the facts, looking at your probability, looking what's around you and realizing who you are. It really is that simple. It's not a question of me thinking, oh, I'm better than you. No, dude, if you want to keep that, I don't say nothing. I never really question people. But I'm like you. I walk high and go, what? If you're going to have me over not wearing a mask, then you better be on form. You better be on form, because honestly, I'm going to wipe the floor with you verbally. And by feeling like that, it doesn't mean I'm waiting for a confrontation. It kind of gives me that bit of bubble wrap that it's almost like a force field. And this might sound weird, that someone looking at someone with a body language as if to say, come at me with the first sentence of logic, and let's see how quick it is before I articulate and rip that shit apart. That almost is like, well, maybe I might not go where I want to go with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
100%. I'm thinking that I did say that I didn't know if it was my confidence sometimes or my resting bitch face, because I do sometimes have an aura of look at me and you're going like over, so but I wouldn't. It's just that's my natural facial position. It's not like I just have natural resting bitch face. I think
you're doing this for the right reasons. You're not a bitch. You don't go there looking for that, and you don't utilize this beautiful, blessed skill that you've got in the wrong way. You're kind, you're considerate, you'll have a chat, you're funny, you're compassionate. So it's not like, oof, she's all gob here. You know what I mean? Because I've seen that. I've seen people with the same skills as what we've got, but use it in a different way where they think they are it. So they think they can treat people how they want because they supersede them. Dude, you're using the skill in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. I usually crack jokes at the person's expense.
Yes.
Like you said about the mask and the airtight, and I make a quip about it's a good job that's not cutting off your oxygen. You know, they don't make the connection, or like, and you sort of do that, and most of them are too thick to eat. Like they're that thick now at this point. I mean, you got to be pretty thick to still think all this is going on, or you've got to watch nothing but the BBC. That's the option. Because if you turned off your telly and you looked outside, there's nothing wrong with the world. So at this point, you either have to be supremely thick, or you have to be being fed the BBC and CNN, etc., 24/7. Because there's no other excuse other than that, and ignorance. People are choosing to remain ignorant. So I totally lost my train of thought then. Sorry.
No, well, I think you make a good point. I think
I didn't make one.
You said they do it thick.
They are thick.
Well, I look at it as on a level. Is it more consciousness than IQ? Because how consciously low are you to suck in this information from an external force without you as a strong adult individual doing your own due diligence on the subject and being the protector of your kids, your family, and your own castle? Are you going to be undone in that way? That you will just comply overnight when a rule is got out? You haven't got the, I'm going to stand up for this, I'm going to support this, I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean? There's an element of
go along to get along, isn't it? They just do that.
It's conscious ability. If you're conscious of who you are, I don't know whether that would be so easily done. And I don't think a lot of people, if they were more highly conscious before this happened, I don't think this narrative would have worked half as good. They wouldn't have sat and listened to him go on the way they did, because a lot of people...
they've been drip-fed a diet of mainstream media over the last 40 years, haven't we? Let's say as soon as that Channel 4 came on, that was it for humanity, really, wasn't it? Back in the 90s, that was sort of the beginning of the end for the brainwashing. That was, I mean, you think about it, we were fed it from breakfast TV right up till Tarrant on TV. It was that was what we were brought up on, and it's continued. And then they brought in phones and social media to add to it even more. So I think maybe I was sort of the last of my generation, because I'm technically a millennial, but I don't obviously fit into the usual category of a millennial. But I think I was sort of the last year or two where we weren't completely brainwashed, bombarded. We were still out and enjoying our childhood. And I mean, the indoctrination system still teaches what it teaches today, just without all the LGBT this and please call Childline if your mum smacks you. That, I mean, that was the difference we had. But you think ever since 2000 especially, it's just been social media, Instagram, YouTube, television, drip fed. lockdowns. I mean, the television has been the babysitter, the television and school, so the kids were getting it double whammy.
And it's the same thing over and over again, Rachel. You bring out a big point. Going back to the basic form of the TV, the valve TV, how true still up now looking at what you can get. But from the very word go is the need for every household to have one. And not just one now, several, few, whatever. And I'm not saying that it's up to people to decide what they want around the house. It's their house and, they've got to live with it. But the influence that will have, you then got the devices. I mean, all these individual devices we're talking about, labor saving, life's going to be great, improve your social life, improve your status as well. Don't forget, you look good, someone coming
be
around.
Be an influencer.
Well, this is it. So you become that self-influencer because you want to fit in, you want to look like you're on it. Even if you're skint, you still got to look like you've got the dob on phone and the fat screen TV with all the shit being pumped into it. Then these things, because I guess it was there in the 50s, it was actually turned on you as a weapon. But I guess smoking was one that should have told us that. How
that doctors and celebrities and the media were all told to tell us that it was good for us. Sound familiar?
Exactly. So it's the same thing, I guess. The moment that device was introduced, it was posed to you as, isn't it great? But it's an open channel to the individual. The worst scenario is now that this technology is boosted and become normalized. Young kids are now weaponized because they've got their own personal targeted device that we love. And not many people will see it like that. But even if you understand on a basic level what metadata is, you're getting gained from the moment you turn your phone on. So sorry.
Profiled. I know, we've chatted for another 40 minutes since we said I was going to go. I've really got to go now.
Get going.
I've got to. Husband's away for 3 days, so I have to go and spend a bit of time with him.
Hope he has a good, safe journey. Honestly, thank you for your time, Rachel. We'll have to speak again soon.
As always, Phil.
In your new group as well, yeah?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, love to your family. And I'll see you.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye. Bye.
Yes, man. Just an open conversation. Whether people enjoyed that, it was just one of them that kind of naturally flowed. Yeah, we both just chat, don't we? So, where was I? Do you want to go any further? Probably don't want to go too much further, to be honest. Part of the agenda, Phil, division between sexes, race, and now young being sceptical of the old. And probably this could wrap it up as well. All that, like you said there, Rob, good to see you, mate, and hello anyone who's jumped in while we were chatting. All that you've mentioned has now been party to us all working our way, not only against each other, but fundamentally, if we're realizing that even them are a thing, we're on a low freaking conscious level from the word go. And they want us, which people have said, they want us to be at such a low conscious level all the time. If you're at a low conscious level, you could be hit. Look how easy it is on any level for anything. Anything. The only time I felt sick was when I had a mask on, so Yes, Jax. Only time I felt sick was when I had a mask on, so I stopped a long time ago. Yeah, I've a couple of occasions I've put my snood on in the early days. Bleeding reluctantly. And then I dropped it. I just went, no, I'm not having this. And the universe opened up. Not because I'm bowling on, but I just knew it was crap. And I mentioned it before, there was something very visual that you get. I'll feel it. I'll be sat on the bus. You've got to be. Wonder what goes through people who are sat there still compliant. They're watching people come on left, right, and centre with no mask on. What's going through their head? They're all spreaders. They're all spreaders. Are you still thinking like that? Or are you self-reflecting going, I might look a bit of a knobby, or, you know what I mean? I think some will be thinking that, probably variable amount of emotions and reasons and feelings on what they truly possess with this. It's up to them. It's a long journey. I'm done with that. It's about internalizing, about becoming who you want to be. Like Rachel, using all this shit for the actual beneficial uses for yourself. Then when you've used it for yourself, you can go about steps to apply it where it can help other people as well. Man, still not even there. Still trying to wonder what the hell is going on. Yeah, don't buy into the BS. Keep your head up. Live your life. It's like watching a show without participating in others' dramas. Isn't it right, mate? It's like all of life is a drama. The way the newsreel comes out, I'll get notifications, and some of the stories are bollocks. It's like, well, what? You're just creating this fantasy world that people have got to engage in. Oh, Jordan's just been arrested because she's done this or done that. Oh, why should I give a shit? I've got my wall to paint. I've got half a dozen things I need to do. I need to call this. I need to do that. I need to, like, seriously? What are you presenting that? How about if you're going to interrupt my ass when I was painting, how about inject something that's going to help me either paint faster, paint quicker, paint smarter, positive mental attitude? Not telling me about some woes or some fucking media hole, sorry to say it. What? Or any other celebrity. Why inject that as reality? Why on their level? Man, there's so much desperation with the celebrity. So much desperation in terms of they're put on a bleeding pedestal, aren't they? And even they'll end up doing whack shows, all these self-indulgent crap shows, where it's all about just them. And you think, well, you're only doing that, one, because you need the money, and two, because you want to stay in the public eye. It must be fucking hating you because you're not getting the work that you were getting, whatever. And it's sad to see, but man, shouldn't be like that. Getting pumped with crap from all kinds of celebrities that are not even celebrities. But yeah, we've still got to engage with them like the celebrities. And because the younger generation, they've all got devices from the moment they're sucking a fucking dummy, then you've got kids that are sucking dummies that are celebrities. That's the crazy shizzle. Influencers. Oh my God. Blame Coronation Street, Phil. Oh, mate, Coronation Street is so phony, so contrived in it. It doesn't depict Mancunians in one way. One way. They're full of it. And like all the other soaps, aren't they, brother? Political now. So you start getting stories injected into it. You know what I mean? There's like an element of racial thing going on. So what? They've got to meet quotas. So it's like, really? Just have it real. Have it real, God damn it. And then the people on it be real. Not porridge-based TV. I'm sorry. That is only designed for one thing. And I'm sorry, because some here might go, well, I actually fucking like it, Phil. You might. And I love you for it. Don't hate me. Just saying. Programs like that, all of them, all your soaps, they're put on at that time for a reason. The information is lacking in so many different areas. It doesn't hit you spiritually, mentally, or fucking physically. All of them, you're actually deficient at the point you finish watching them. All of them. You're like that, brainwashed, regurgitating crap from a show just because it's there. It's a good way of switching off. TV is. But it's a fucking weapon. Guys, it's a weapon. Weapon. Oh, man, I'm going to get lynched in here. The Coronation Street Society are going to come for you, Phil. They're going to fuck you up, Phil. I know it. Don't ever diss your staple diets, your Coronation Streets, your East Enders, Hollyoaks, Emmerdale. I remember when that was called Emmerdale Farm, and every time I talk about Emmerdale Farm, the kids laugh at me. How old are you? Already. Here we go. Oh, Rob's got some sense. Those drugs are available, Phil. They used to give them to the Nazi before going into battle. Yeah, mate. So what you're saying is, you now diagnose me that I need to start taking a few drugs just to calm my ass down a bit. That might be good advice, mate. Good advice. Yes, Emmerdale Farm. Mate, fucking Emmerdale Farm. But at least that was honest then, wasn't it? Honest. Guys with wellies on, flat caps, dragging some shit round a field. There's sheep. It was honest. You knew where it was. It was in the middle of an area where farming was a major industry. So make it about your flat cap tweety, bloody, fucking, what was I trying to say? Leather cap, bloody caps, pants with fucking joppers and fuck whatever else. Make it about that. That's what it's about. Don't start now making it a cityfied thing. No, it's not. It's a country shizzle. And even then, I could barely understand them because they were proper Yorkshire folk. Not now. I don't know. I don't watch the crap. But I know they've injected so many different bits of crap in there all over the place. It's not even Emmerdale anymore. Not even Emmerdale Farm. Don't represent Yorkshire. Just like Coronation Street doesn't represent Manchester. EastEnders, come on, do we have to drop the mic here? Doesn't represent the East End. Fucking dropping it. What mic can I drop? Dropping a cushion. There. Done. Job done. Game done. That's my appraisal for the night. If all I've come on for, not 22 to numerology, it means a lot of shit. No, just to come on, drop the cushion on what if or go on if when it comes to them nasty soaps. Yeah? You want to become a conscious, higher vibrating individual, drop the shit. Drop that. You might not. It's up to you. Oh man, they're coming for me, aren't they? They're coming for me. All them soap-loving people are now unsubscribing, going, what a dick I think is. Right, okay, I'm going to go watch a box set of Emmerdale Farm. What? Nah, Phil. The opposite. Nazis giving stuff similar to speed would give him what? Bazookas going full out killing sprees. Yeah. The Americans done that as well, didn't they? Was it PCP they were giving? And yeah. When you're in I guess, the thickening of battle, mental stimulation is, a lot of guys would have lost it, wouldn't want to be there, all kinds of trauma-based stuff going on that they're experiencing, I guess. So I guess they felt pumping that into him would not, one, appease, and two, normalise the shizzle that they're doing. Man, don't know whether that is a possibility. I'm a pacifist, me, so I just the thought of taking a man's life, you know what I mean? But not going to condemn a man who's going to fight to war, doing what he thought was right. Honourable thing to do, to risk everything you've got and what you're about in order to help other people. You know what I mean? You can't say any more than that. Right, I think I'm going to get going, guys. I think I'm going to get going. I've been on probably a bit longer with Brick Girl than I thought, and I had a video or two to bring up. But let me just share this one last thing then before I go, because I'll only be mad with myself that I didn't do it. Is it there? Do I need to remove that? Get that on there. Stop screen. Where is it? I need to. Right. No, I need to totally stop screen. Get rid of that. Right. Now, there you go. Right. Just a quick article, if it is about. Right. Just about bookends on where I come on in the actual beginning, and take this however you want it, guys. I'm not trying to ram anything down your throat. This is just how I feel. I've said it, and in many ways, when I first started the YouTube, I didn't want to talk about any of this because it takes over. There's so many different waves going on that you felt spirituality started talking about that in the manner in which that you were introduced to this and the topic manner that was floating about at the time. It was like spirituality and start telling people, oh yeah, the number 22, I can't was like, shut up, Phil, but personally now I think this for me is more significant now, realizing on an individual level what it means for me, actually understanding or trying to understand where this is coming from in the beginning initially, potentially so internalizing. And like Brick Girl said, makes you feel that you can be the best you can be. That's all this is. It's not a you back this number or make loads of money or be ultimately successful. Maybe you will be anyway, but that won't be down to the number per se. It's down to you per se. Down to what you do. Be the best person you can be. Engage in what your full intentions is on your engagement with any individual. Universes will start to open. I'm not saying people don't anyway. Angel number 22 means spiritual significance and symbolism. The angel number 22 meaning, the number 22 has a lot of hidden meanings. Your guardian angel has a message for you, and it is utilizing this number as it means, as a means of communication. You may wonder what the significance of the angel number 22 is if you see it repeatedly. Yeah, still wondering. With the number 22, your guardian angel is indicating that you are on the verge of obtaining spiritual understanding of a higher caliber than ever before. To see this number in your vision is a sign from the angels that your inner divinity is powerful. Finally, you're ready to disseminate your newfound knowledge to everyone on the planet. I don't know. Hopefully, you'll have a better understanding of the angel number 22 meaning and also the celestial powers are trying to teach you after reading this essay. The angel's advice should not be ignored if you are witness it. So you can read the article and da 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 da. So I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm going to get going now. But man, just you take what you will from this. It's people's own individual choice. On a level, to me, I personally believe and resonate with everything that's said there. And I felt that has been my internal private thing going on throughout probably a lot of my life. I didn't interpret it or even start to interpret it until later on in life. Many conversations with people, spiritualist type of people, even clairvoyants, many come to a realization that this is a thing. And personally, from then on, what I've seen and took, Summit is definitely in it. And because of that, because I'm trying to understand it a little bit more, I am in a so much better place of the knowledge of this than I was 2 years ago. On a personal level and what I can do for other individuals. About helping, you know what I mean? So be the best individual that you can be. That's probably all I'm trying to say from this. I'm not trying to say, oh, me. I'm not. Everything I've just said tonight, everything regarding spirituality and numerology, it's for internalizing. It's not for listen to me and my story. It's for you to maybe hear that and go, well, you know what? Let's look at it on my level, on an internal, private thing. At the same time, me doing this is something I would never have seen before. The word master was something that was an alien concept to me several years ago. But knowing that you have skills and traits, as us all do, in order to help and make people a bit happier in their lives on a personal level, if nothing else, you can't help them financially, you can't get a job for them, you can't make their life simpler and easier. But what you can do is give them tools to make them feel happy, feel good about themselves, and know that, you know what, you're with a lot of positive thinking, free people. We can all do it together. Rant over, guys. Rant over. Probably missed a few comments. The number 22, like a guiding hand on the shoulder, whatever pops up, reassurance that I'm on the right path. That I'm on the right path. There you go. That's how I regard it, mate. That's it. I regard it as something I need to look at, internalise. Put it this way. I'm probably the most active I've ever been in terms of a personal level over the past 10 years. I come home 10, 15 years ago, play computer games, just, chill out. Now I'm like creating, doing something. Do I want to sell it? No, create, always. I'm buzzing off doing that, but I think there's an element of the numerology that constantly prods, like you say. Who are you? What can you be? What do you want to be? What do you have to do to become it? It's like, fucking hell. I'm watching a game of football and the goalkeeper's got 22 on, and I'm like, this comes into my head. I'm like, don't, man, just let me watch the game. Just let me watch the game and I'll confront that later on. But it does, it constantly helps, nurtures, guides, whatever you want to call it. It's a beautiful thing. If you engage in it on this stream now, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to preach to anyone. I'm not trying to tell you, do it and you'll be great. Look into it like you would look into anything else. You're in charge of your own destiny. That destiny comes in whatever form you want it to be. Get on that. And on that note, I'm going to get going. I've not gone into 22 as much as I'd like, but I've gone into it enough. I've had a good engagement with our brick here. Hey up. Sent me a little something there. I'll have a little look. So yes, what do you call it? Pseudoscience. Fuck off. Pseudoscience. Man, numerology's been here for a lot longer than that muppet who's written that long, sophisticated word. You know what I mean? Ancient monuments are built with numerology, trigonometry, geometry, numbers. God damn it, spirituality. And this muppet. Numerology is a pseudo belief in the divine and mystical relationship. I bet this muppet's got a favourite number. There you go. That's your mic drop. Mic drop. Right, guys. Dawith going to get going. Thank you for staying on. If you've been on, just jumped on. Sorry I'm getting off, but thank you for being along. I'll come on at some point. Hopefully with Sharon again. We'll have a little bit of a catch up, see what go on. You guys have a blessed evening. Another hour and 6 minutes will be 2022 on the 22nd of the 2nd, 22. Get on that shit. Yes. Love you guys, even the pissing haters. You take care. God bless. Thanks for everyone for tuning in.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.